On O'Reilly last night, he insisted the amount of negative press aimed his way is unfair.
This is the all-time pile-on in history in terms of...
So my question is it coordinated? Do you believe it's coordinated?
Yeah, I do think so. Before I ran, I used to get great press. In fact, my wife said the other day, she said, you used to never get a bad story. Well, I got some, but I get very few. Now I have, like, I can be on the front page of the New York Times in 3 different stories, and every one of them is a hit job. And you understand that. No, it's a very unfair press. But you know, I knew it would be bad. I didn't know it would be this bad. I used to talk. I said, boy, am I going to get hit? Because I stand for free borders. I stand, you know, for strong borders. We have to strengthen up our country. We're not going to have a country if we don't have borders. And people are pouring across. By the way, ICE and the Border Patrol guards, Border Patrol agents, just endorsed me. 16,500 agents.
And a brand new poll from a traditionally red state shows Trump and Clinton in a dead heat. They're each getting 26% in Utah. Just 4 points behind is independent candidate Evan McMullen, raising the possibility of a third-party candidate actually winning the state of Utah. He has ties there, of course. Brett Baer is anchor of Special Report. We'll get to Donald Trump's war with Republicans in a minute, but first of all, I guess you're not going to lose any Republican voters if you take on the media, Brett.
No, John. The media has a lower approval rating than Congress, which stands, I think, at 18%. So there is some low-hanging fruit there. I will say that Donald Trump, in recent days and weeks, has given the media a lot to chew on. He did know going in that at some point the media overall, mainstream media, would turn on him anyway, but then he has provided a lot of oxygen for those stories. So he clearly mentions it every time he's on the campaign trail. It is something that fires up his base. They too believe that, but you know, the trick about this election now is addition, not subtraction. And who are you adding in the independents or the Democrats who are more conservative or moderate? Who are you adding in the states who are undecided? And it's a very small number. And so far, the addition is not working if you look at the polls across the country.
That brings us to his battle with other Republicans, leaders, and office holders. The Washington Post today says Donald Trump declared war with the Republican Party. Is it that bad?
Well, it is a civil war. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I mean, we've often talked about how there is this phrase that there's a civil war within the Republican Party, but now it is playing out on Twitter and other places. I think Deb Fischer is an interesting study here in that she came out and said that she was going to pull out and say that Donald Trump should step down and Mike Pence should be the nominee. This is, again, the senator from Nebraska, and then has re-endorsed, if you will, Donald Trump. That suggests that either she's heard from constituents, she's seen some polls, or the tide has changed. And we'll see if she is the anomaly or where the party starts heading. I think most of the Republicans have kind of just stayed quiet. There's been about 30 plus who said that Donald Trump should step down, but he spent yesterday lambasting them on Twitter, the ones who did, and didn't really spend a lot of the day attacking Hillary Clinton's campaign.
That Washington Post article that I alluded to earlier carries a quote from a Trump campaign spokesman. He says, Jason Miller says, Mr. Trump's campaign has never been driven or fueled by Washington. It's always been driven by the grassroots, and it will continue to be. What we want is everyone who wants to defeat Hillary Clinton to be on board, anyone who's concerned about the direction of the country. So if he is so unconcerned about Washington, why is he then sending out tweets like these? He says, meaning Republicans, very weak and ineffective leader, Paul Ryan, had a bad conference call where his members went wild at his disloyalty. Obviously, that reference to the call with Republican members of Congress who are wondering what to do about Trump, whether they should continue to support him or not. And then another tweet from Trump. Disloyal R's, Republicans, are far more difficult than crooked Hillary. They come at you from all sides. They don't know how to win. I will teach them. Oh. It's a most unusual presidential campaign by any standard.
Well, right. In the campaign, the head of the campaign, Steve Bannon, kind of the behind-the-scenes running it, has had it out for Paul Ryan for a long time. If you look back at his time as heading up Breitbart, he really said Paul Ryan, as Speaker of the House, is the enemy, and the establishment Republicans are the enemy. Listen, this scratches an itch for the base that says that Republicans in Washington are not getting it done. They didn't stand up to President Obama and the administration enough, and, you know, who cares if we lose the House or the Senate? That is the mentality. The problem is that in order to get things done, it's a lot easier if he won the presidency, Donald Trump, to have a Republican Senate and a Republican House to be able to get what you want to get through Congress. I mean, that is how Washington works. You got to get it through the House and the Senate. If you have a Democratic Senate and maybe even a Democratic House, it seems a little bit like a long shot still, but there are some out there who say the House is in play. It's a lot tougher if you're president to get anything through, and that is why the balance of power races are really going to be crucial and ones to watch on election night.
But it would seem that, you know, Mr. Trump would do better to train his fire at Hillary Clinton. I mean, we're going to be talking about it later in the program. His new lines of attack against Hillary Clinton, to focus all of his fire on her and the Democrats rather than, you know, shooting this circular firing squad within his own party.
Yeah, but John, I mean, we've seen he doesn't follow the playbook of a normal race. He hasn't all along from the primary until now. And this is an anti-establishment, anti-elitist kind of environment. And, you know, he's playing to that. I would be surprised if it continues into today. I think that he's going to focus more on the WikiLeaks emails and what they mean to the Clinton campaign, which, by the way, are chock full of different things, and we've been covering them here on Fox and on Special Report.
Right there. Thank you.
All right.